What's up everyone, this is Fish7G. So for this video today, we're actually going to explore a different territory in terms of Elsword. So instead of actually focusing on their content themselves, we're actually going to take a different direction and actually look behind the scene that we're actually doing right behind their backs of the developers and actually the GMs themselves. And just to say about this, I won't be saying their actual name themselves because it will actually bring some concerns around their group if they were to be mentioned in this video. So we're actually going to give them a different name so that their identity will be hidden and classified, so no one will decide to report them if they were to do that. So we're actually going to dub this group as called the Black Market of Elsword because on the way they operate and trade, it's called the RMT. In this case, it is a shorter term of real money trade. So this is actually an act when real players will actually exchange game items in the game, and for the trader that wants to buy them, they will actually be willing to pay them real money in order to get those items in the game for themselves. However, this type of trade is illegal against the term of condition that all of us players actually check as whenever we make an account, because this method will actually make the gaming company or KOG themselves not making any income, because almost all their money that the player is spending is going to give that other person instead of towards them, and it actually is breaking their economy in terms of making money from the game that they actually are handling on right now. So groups like this will actually try to classify their groups by either making a Facebook page or go to somewhere else away from the official Elsword server so they can actually conduct these activities. So just to give you a rundown on what stuff they have to offer. So some of these things that are actually being offered in this group will actually be something a bit way beyond what you actually get in the game because of the amount of stuff they actually are having to offer. And if you want to exchange an ED wise, it's not going to be enough to cover all of that cost, and the only way to get that is to use real money. So some examples that I actually can pull out is somebody is during the enhancement event, people actually been spending most of their money trying to get most of their +7 event gear to get +11, and then when the event ends, that was actually their chance to sell all those amulets that they produce into giving them real money. That's just as you see in this photo right here. In this pet inventory, you see a whole bunch of +11s, and each of them will actually go roughly about $170 each of them, and if you buy more of them, they'll be willing to give you a discount. However, you gotta know how much money you're spending just to get hold of these amulets, and already right off your head, you can already think about how much money you can actually spend towards something else compared to actually buying these amulets from this person who has been grinding for all of that amulets for these enhancement events. And whenever KOG does this in the future, this is actually a perfect opportunity for them to generate as much income as they can, just to sell these amulets to desperate players that actually want to have the best gear as they can in the game right now. Some items ranges from selling ale tiers, because there's probably the best way to spread the word about their stuff they're selling to the public, and probably the next thing they're selling is actually ED rates to dollar rates. So there's actually those players that actually want to get as much ED income as possible so they can spend in game, but either they don't have the time to grind for it, or they don't have enough time to invest in generate that income. So those players out there are making ED just to sell them in real dollars and selling them in bills. So just for a sample conversion rate, if you want one bill, you have to pay at least $13 or $14 or more per billion of ED if you want to have on your character, and that's when you have to use real money in order to pay for that conversion rate. Most of the time they're selling their ice burners just to either you want to get some money out of it or you want to trade for ED. And probably the most biggest thing that you can actually take away from this is actually if they just decide they want to quit the game for good and they want to get rid of accounts, probably the best resort they can do is try to sell and target itself and try to set up a very high price depending on how much stuff they have in that character and how much equipment they have and then their enhancements level, or almost all their efforts they actually put on that character, which scales around how much money they can actually charge for that account just for that person to buy it. Depending on the amount of stuff or content they have in an account, sometimes players will actually charge from $500, but if it's a fully geared character with, like, let's just say a bunch of +11 L20 gear and a void weapon with, like, let's say +13s, and they decide to quit the game for good, but more than possibly they can charge at least around $1,000 just to have the access account, because their character is pretty much geared to go, just in case you want to do the dungeon very stupidly easy with all the gear they put through and the money they spent in order to get that gear. In some cases, even some players actually do decide to purchase that account for themselves, and they're willing to pay that much money just to justify the amount of stuff they actually put behind it. And yeah, that's what actually is happening behind the scene with the black market, with all the stuff you can get from, or stuff you can't never get from in the game in the first place. So what do you think about this concept of having a black market behind it in Elsword? Is this something that you guys would actually be invested to look at, or is this something that is pretty much shouldn't be done in the first place? So drop down a comment down below in the video just to say what's your opinion regarding this topic I brought for you guys in this video, and hopefully we can actually bring discussions among the community about this topic and something that we should all be aware as a community and something we should know about whenever we play this game. So I do look to see those comments down below, and this is First MG. I'll be signing out for now.